Hi, my name is Mark Hundley, and this is Live at 5 for a Friday. Um, Friday before um, Memorial Day weekend. It's a long weekend coming up. Something flashed on my screen. I got distracted. It's the Friday before Memorial Day weekend, the long weekend, and I hope that you've had a good week. I hope you've had a good day. I hope that you have plans over this 3-day weekend for some rest, relaxation, and recuperation. Um, and just some relaxation, just some quiet. That would be great. So I hope that happens. We've been in the beginnings of a new series on Native American wisdom, and I've told you I'm a real sucker for Native American wisdom, and I want to share with you another one of my favorites today. We're going to be talking about first impressions, but really more than first impressions. Research indicates that we have between zero point 0.5 and 7 seconds to make a first impression. Not a lot of time, is it? As a result, many who coach others in business or education or in relationship building focus on creating strong first impressions. Creating powerful first impressions is very important. What if we blow our chance? What happens if we stumble or fumble our way through those first few seconds? Have we lost our opportunity to impress and influence? When I was preparing for this, I'm going to do a little segue into a story in my life, something that came up with a different perspective of first impressions. Way back in my early 20s, when I was a young preacher type guy, I went from Dallas, living in Dallas, went to Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, to interview for a youth minister job. And I was before a committee, a group of people, about 8 or 9 folks. And the interview went well. It lasted about 2 hours. It was pretty extensive. I felt like I was answering the questions well, but there was one nagging worry and concern that I had. There was one gentleman who never said a word, never made a comment, never asked a question. He just stared a hole through my brain, it felt like. He just glared at me the whole 2-hour period. And periodically he would duck his head like this and just slowly shake his head. So it had me confused, had me a little scared too. And I remember that at the end of the interview, overall I felt it went well. They asked if I had any questions, so I did, and I asked my questions. And I had one other question that just bugged me. I wasn't going to leave that interview if I didn't ask that gentleman a question. So I looked at him and I said, "Sir, with all due respect, I saw that you never asked a question, you never made a comment, but periodically you would duck your head and shake it as if you were disappointed or sad or disagreeing with something that I said." I said, "Is there something that I did, or is there something that you need to share with me?" And he paused and he looked at me and he said, "Well, son, you probably are a pretty nice guy, and I probably would like working with you, but I just couldn't get beyond the fact that you remind me so much of a young man I just can't stand. So, son, I'm probably not gonna vote for you. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is." Well, I said thank you, and I said thank you to the committee, and I did not get the job, and I'm kind of glad I didn't. You see, sometimes I think that focusing so much on creating the persona that rocks the first impression can materially encourage a certain shallowness that may promise more than it can deliver in the long run. Heck, I didn't even get a chance to make my first impression with that guy, right? In order to create some balance in this process, perhaps we can find some assistance in wisdom proffered by the Dakota tribe. Now, by way of reference, the Dakota people are a Native American tribe in North America, and they compose 2 of the 3 main subcultures of the larger Sioux Nation. So just by way of reference, the Dakota people have an interesting proverb that states, "We will be known forever by the tracks we leave." What a shift of focus. Yes, making a good first impression is indeed important. However, forging a lifelong legacy exceeds the art of the first impression. Think about the power of this proverb. The tracks we leave define our influence. The tracks we leave behind as we journey through life not only tell others where we've been, they also leave clues about the stops we make along the way. Our trail reflects what we consider to be important in life. We tend to spend time investing in those things we believe will benefit us and others as well. Creating a life legacy that deserves emulation requires that we spend more time contemplating the value of our interactions with other people. This focus goes well beyond a mere first impression. It requires us to do a few things well and consistently over time. What are those things? Well, allow me to share just a few. We must learn to walk circumspectly, looking around, paying attention to everyone and everything that is going on around us. We must learn to dispense grace to ourselves and others when in need. We must learn to think critically, so important. We must learn to respond with kindness. We must learn to develop core values that require service to others. And you'll notice that I said we must learn. It is a learning process to create a legacy worth following. Obviously, I could share more actions. However, I believe that these 5 are representative of what is required to leave tracks worth following. Pay attention to those first impressions. They are indeed important, and they will be. However, if you really want to leave lasting impressions, pay attention to the tracks you leave behind. I hope you have a great evening, a great weekend. I will see you on Monday on Memorial Day for Live at 5. In the meantime, rest, relax, recuperate. Thank you for stopping by. Peace.